Ikaw muna. Usapin mo muna
Magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat. Ito po ang AGP and JP, Juan Dangkal and Luminous. Live.
Oy,
Ngayong gabi. Right. Kamusta naman ang audio natin? Naririnig niyo ako?
Oh, very good sa akin. Ginalaw mo. Nagalaw mo. Okay, better. Okay.
Init, ang init
Tingnan nga natin. Ha? Napakainit. Napakainit talaga itong araw na to. It's a hot day. So,
yellow sushi. Sinong hippo? Hippopotamus?
How weird.
Anong sound na yan?
Hindi, kasi tinitingnan ko ano nangyayari dun sa ginagawa natin na kalokohan. Kung lalabas ba siya dito sa page ko.
Lumabas?
Hindi.
Hindi lumabas sa Facebook page?
Hindi.
Bakit?
Okay. So, ano kaya nangyari dito sa mga going? Tingnan nga natin. Pero ipaalam lang natin, no? Kasi itong ating force
live natin ngayong gabi.
Okay, itong live natin ngayong gabi, no? Kasi napupwersa kami maghanap na ibang paraan because we are being treated as if we are doing an inauthentic act, no? Inauthentic behavior. Kasi go to my page, you know, naalala mo ba tinanggal na natin yung Trixie Cruz-Angeles na paid partnership?
Tinanggal na natin.
Tinan mo. Andiyan na naman siya.
Oo, paid partnership.
Ayun. So, alam mo, they're really trying to make the audience or the public think that we are bots or what, no? So
gaslighting yung ginagawa nila sa atin,
we are bots and we are not real. So, sinubukan kong iikot sa YouTube, hindi pala siya maandar. Okay, anyway, fine. So, good evening. So, ang ating usapan ay tungkol sa soberanya.
Soberanya ba kaya?
Sovereignty or soberano. Isa. Konti lang ng natin ngayon, audience natin ngayon. No? Talagang ginagaslight na tayo dito.
Nag-gaslight talaga tayo.
Oo, we are okay lang. Up to you.
Parang sino bang usap sa atin lahat? Di ba? Ako yun.
Ikaw, siyempre. Ay, may nagpadala sa atin ng magandang graphics. Si Andy Fern. Nagpadala sa atin ng magandang graphics. Kaya lang, ang hinihingi ko sa kanya tuloy, sabi ko, gawin mo naman kami ng logo para sa AGP and JP Live. Consent free, restricted daw, or am I getting shadow banned?
Shadow banned yan, di ba? Sabi ko sa'yo.
Sabi niya, so you can tweak artwork and change text, and then hindi niya masend. Andy Fern, why don't you send me a message directly sa Jean Paul Varela? No?
I-type mo sa chat.
I-type ko dito sa chat, That's my full name. Pag hinanap mo. There you go. Good morning, Tess from California. And Bislig, Michael. And Almirakel. Uy, long time no see. Si Almirakel. Hindi tayo sinamahan ng Anyway, okay, so, sovereignty.
Ano sinasabi mo? Sovereignty? Sovereignty?
Tingnan mo, pag nag-chat ako ngayon, ako na lang. Hindi na lahat. Hindi, lumalabas pala sa lahat pa rin. Alright. Shout out po from Turkey. Kilala natin si Ertuğrul.
Stella Maris. Ay, kilala ko to
Uy, Stella Maris.
Lumaki na siya, tumangkat na siya.
The name of my school.
Stella Maris.
Ang aking eskwelahan nung high school ay Stella Maris. Star of the Sea.
Stella Maris.
Para din naman siya Star of the Sea. Alright. Feisty, good evening. Hantaf. Uy, Saudi Arabia. Salam. Assalamualaikum. Alright.
Waalaikumsalam.
Soberanya.
Wa barakato.
Paano ba tayo nagkaroon ng soberanya? Attorney? Liza? Si Liza ba may dahilan?
Si Raisa, wala yung kinalaman sa soberanya natin.
I-flashback natin yung 1898 Constitution.
Malolos.
No? Malolos. No?
Sige, sige.
Hindi. Sige, habang ano, ibuksan ko lang.
Ang soberanya, ang ibig sabihin niyan is the power to exercise or control a certain part of the real estate on the globe, which is also called territory. So land yan, to make laws, to punish violations of laws. That is what we call the rule or law-making power. At saka to have a government and to control that government according to its will. Yan ang tinatawag natin na sovereignty proper.
Yeah.
Sovereignty per se.
Pero yan ay madali natin sabihin sa ngayon dahil malinaw na siya, no? Kung ano siya. But in the 1890s, nung ating mga ninuno ay nag-revolusyon at hindi yan ganyang kalinaw. Okay? Ang ganda nito, meron siyang Espanyol. So it must have been written in
Antes del pueblo Filipino.
Convocados legitamente para el establecer la justicia, proveer a la defensa común, proveer a la defensa común, promover el bien, los beneficios de la libertad, implorando el auxilio del soberano legislador del universo.
Para alcanzar estos fines, hemos votado, decretado y sancionado la siguiente.
All right, we, as representatives of the Filipino people legally convened to establish justice, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, ensure the blessings of liberty, imploring the aid of the sovereign lawgiver of the universe. In order to obtain these objectives, have voted, decreed, and approved the following. And in Article 3 it states, sovereignty resides exclusively in the people. Why is this something new? Okay.
Because before this, go ahead, sir.
No, before this, the same people, they tried to make different constitutions then. Okay, and there was a constitution of Biak na Bato.
Yes.
Which was also adopted by Aguinaldo. Okay, and in the last historical review that we made of Aguinaldo, diba? We left the question, how did he become president? When this was enacted after the Declaration of Independence. So, nakapag-declare tayo ng independence without claiming sovereignty? Yun ang malaking tanong. Naging presidente si Aguinaldo without even becoming elected? Yun pa ang isang malaking tanong.
Oo.
Di ba?
Pero meron tayong kakang sagot na maaaring tama.
Ayan. Sige.
Ang ating sagot dyan ay nung panahon ng mga Kastila kasi, ang ating soberanya ay wala sa El Pueblo. Wala sa buong bayan. Nandoon siya sa hari ng Espanya. Isang tao lamang ang umahawak nito. Isang tao lang ang may soberanya, ang may hawak ng soberanya na nagro-rule. Namamahala sa atin. Sa ating gobyerno sa Pilipinas, sa ating teritoryo o territory. Siya na rin yung paggawa ng mga batas Yan. Andun yan siya sa king. After that, the movement is this. And at this time, when this Mas Malolos Constitution was made, a new worldview is developing in Europe and in the United States of America.
And in the South Americas, yung the
South America.
former Spanish and Portuguese and whatever colonies.
Mm. At ang worldview na yan, ayun nga, yung social contract at democracy na nagkaroon na ngayon ng pagbabago ng pag-iintindi kung sino ba talaga ang may hawak ng soberanya sa isang estado o bansa. At ang proposal nitong bagong worldview ay nasa taong bayan. Wala na sa isang tao lamang.
Ang sinasabi, itong November 1, 1897, yan din ba yung nakikita natin?
Yan din yan.
Alright. So yung November 1, 1897, yan daw ay isang araw na nag-declare din ang Pilipinas ng kasarilan from Spain. So even before June. And in this day, they ratified a constitution that they made in May of that year. Uy, bebet pala dito.
Kamukha niya yung artistang asawa niya, no? Kamukha niya yung artistang asawa ni Ding Dong.
Ni Ding Dong. Alright.
Larga.
So, ang sabi, no? Alright. The supreme government of the republic shall be vested in a supreme council. So, ibang-iba siya sa, sa simula nung Malolos Constitution, composed of a president, vice president, and 4 secretaries for the conduct of foreign relations, of war, of the interior, and of the treasury. The powers of the Supreme Council of the government shall be to adopt measures maintaining developing existence, issuing such orders as believes adequate for the preservation of the security of the sea. Lawmaking. Tama? Number 2, to impose and collect taxes, to issue foreign domestic loans, finance of government, to authorize privateering and the issue of letters of marque and reprise. Letters of marque and reprisal to raise and organize troops. Okay, the authority to make war, police power, police and military power, judicial power. Number 4, to try, and then the 5th, the right of supervision, supreme direction of the military operations, another military power.
Chief.
Okay. To select and nominate Captain General or Lieutenant General. Parang ano pa rin. Kasi yung Captain General is the colonial to. Captain General of the Philippines.
Lieutenant General. Yung Captain General is the Navy. Lieutenant General is the infantry.
And Army. To convene the Assembly of Representatives when necessary. So that is, what is this? Diba? So lawmaking is here, adopt measures. Right?
Policy na, parang policy na yan. Pagka meron na silang assembly, policy making na lang, lawmaking na yung assembly.
Yan. So, yung assembly is just an optional thing. So, and then Article 3, Vice Presidents. Article 4, Secretary, Subsecretary. So now, this is now the form of government. No? Tagalog shall be the official language of the Republic. May election on Article 7. And then the decision of the Council of Government shall be determined by majority vote. Okay, so there is a council. Executive power shall be vested in the President or in the absence of the Vice President and shall have these powers to promulgate acts of Supreme Council of the Government, to provide the execution within the period of 90 days, to issue decrees, rules, instructions of theirs. So ano to, mga executive orders? Martial law ito, no?
Martial law yan.
Now, yung Supreme Council actually is the direct translation of kataas-taasang kagalang-galangang katipunan. Okay? So in case of definite vacancies and the office of the blah, 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 may mention ba of sovereignty dito? So these are all their functions. Okay, religious liberty, the right of association and freedom of education, the freedom of the press, as well as freedom of the exercise of all classes of profession, arts, trades, and industries are established. And then in each province, they may have a representative delegate elected by the universal suffrage who shall represent it in the assembly. Okay. No person, whatever may be his nationality, shall be imposed or held. Okay. No, due process. Deprive of property, life, liberty, and property. So, Bill of
Tingnan
Rights.
mo, tingnan mo muna,
Ah,
taas. Iwan, yan lang.
ah,
Yan, 24. No person, whatever may be his nationality, shall be imprisoned or held except by virtue of an order issued by a competent court, provided that this shall not apply to crimes which concern the revolution. So, there is an
they,
assumption here that this government is a revolutionary government.
yep. Hi. And sabi dito, ito yung sinasabi ni Luna, di ba? Every Filipino is obliged to serve the revolution with his services and property to the extent of his capacity. Ang hindi sumunod sa utos ng general, di ba? Si Luna. So the debts and other obligations contracted prior to the promulgation of this constitution by general and other chiefs of the Revolutionary Army as well as their notes and orders are hereby recognized and ratified. So pwedeng umutang si General. Sign it. Officials of the Council of Government are entitled to the consideration, okay, sweldo, Council of Government, Supreme Council of Grace and Justice. Uy, may grace. Supreme Council of Grace. Established by the Supreme Council of Government shall have authority to make decisions affirm, disprove the sentences rendered by other courts and to dictate rules for the administration of justice. Okay, every official in the republic shall render assistance to the others. Wala akong nakikita talagang kahit anong salita dito tungkol sa baka dito sa dulo. Tingnan natin. This constitution shall be enforced here in the Philippines for a period of 2 years. Hindi forever, pare.
Yeah.
From the date of its promulgation. In case that the revolution shall not have terminated within the time. Upon the expiration of said period, a session of the Assembly of Representatives shall be called for a new constitution and the election of a new Council of Government and Representatives. So this is a
Revolutionary
interim.
Constitution.
Okay. And
That is the Korea Aquino Constitution. Something like
and rightfully so. If this was made in November, this was ratified November 1897, and in 1899 they made a new one.
Tama, 2 years. 2 years.
Di ba? Then this one is just in time. Paso.
Yep.
Oh.
Sila rin ang gumawa niya.
Sila rin. Almost the same people. Nandiyan din si Aguinaldo. But this one is now more like
Comprehensive.
a real constitution. By the way, yung constitution daw na yon, yung 1897 which we just read, is directly copied from or kumbaga very similar to the early South American constitutions.
Mexican yata or ano.
Ito yung kay Bolivar.
Yeah.
Yung mga constitutions nila Bolivar. Okay, so it was a warlike constitution.
Ano yan? Wartime constitution, ito peacetime constitution.
But hindi pa nagsimula yung Philippine-American War. Okay? And it goes on and on like that. But the question is, how easy was it to come up with an understanding of sovereignty at this time?
To what? To come up with?
An understanding of sovereignty at that time. Di ba? Was it easy peasy? Di ba? Was it just like that?
We already had an idea of what sovereignty is because we had sovereigns in the datus, in the sultans, and yung mga hari, yung mga kings dito sa yung nga sultan at saka datu yan sila. We had an idea of what it is, but in the parlance of the democratic upheaval, the ideal of democracy, medyo mahirap intindihin yan because suddenly everyone holds it. At this time, medyo may nangangarag pa dyan sa pag-intindi nito kung bakit tayong lahat ang merong hawak nito, itong sovereignty. Mahirap intindihin natin.
In fact, in South America also, just before this time, maybe about yung mga panahon nila Bolivar, no? Nanauna silang nag-revolt kaysa sa atin eh. There is a place there na muntik na silang magkabarilan din, sila mag-away dahil the decision of the people in that place is to look for a prince from Europe to rule over them.
To rule them. Oh.
Yes. And that is how kumbaga volatile the issue was at that time, no? Na para bang no, wala tayong karapatang maghari-harian sa sarili natin. And I think what you're saying here is this one, no? Si Austin. Yung sinasabi mo na experience natin ng mga dato, no? Sabi kasi ni Austin, okay, what is this pala? No, this thing that I am using is a material from 1891, if I'm not mistaken. Why do we take something as old as this? Di ba? Okay. The title here is on the conception of sovereignty. Because kumbaga, this is the state of the art at the time. Tama ba, Tony? We cannot understand it the way we understand it now because unfair yun. Di ba? Let's understand it based on the viewpoint of Aguinaldo and their peers and the Americans. Di ba? So, ang sabi...
Hello,
dito,
Jeremy.
Alright, sabi daw, si Austin daw, ang kanyang definition of sovereignty is if a determinate human superior, not in a habit of obedience to a like superior, receive a habitual obedience from the bulk of a given society, that determinate superior is sovereign in that society. And the society is a society political and independent. You see, if this was a belief in 1879, therefore, yung ating mga dato, tama si Atty. Ahmed, no? Based on the academe at that time, yan ay isang political and independent society. Kung meron silang sinusunod diyang lapu-lapu, di ba? At narinig naman nila yung nangyari kay Magellan. Based on the accounts of their that place has people who follow leaders who do not obey or di ba? Who are not in a habit of obedience to a like superior. Kaya tingnan mo, anong ginawa ni Legazpi? Nakipag-blood compact siya. Kay
Raha.
Bohol.
Raha umabon. Ay,
No,
hindi.
yung sa Bohol. Si
kalimutan ko na.
Sino bulanon dyan?
Umabon na. Umabon.
Umabon? Ba't siguro yan si Umabon eh?
Sibo?
Sino
Makwel.
Sino nga ba yung dato dun sa Bohol na nakipag-blood compact kay Legazpi? Yung merong doon, estatwa? Yung pinuntahan natin? Ha? Dato puti daw at saka suka, toyo. Alright? So they have to treat like the people are already sovereign if this was the ruling idea at the time, no? And then sabi din dito, no? Every positive law is set directly or circuitously by a sovereign individual or body to a member or members of the independent political society where its author is supreme. So, at the time daw, actually, diretso na lang tayo into ang mga naglalaban-laban na ideas is Austin. Si Katuna. Pahingin nga akong tubig. And so, iba to sa idea ni Hobbes, yung social contract theory.
Iba yan sila.
But Hobbes believed in that social contract theory in in a singular act of theoretical transfer of that natural right. Pero meron ba talagang natural right? At that time, hindi rin nila yan malinaw.
Actually,
So,
yung ano, yung social contract is a theoretical concept. It is a theoretical construct because
oo.
no one can prove that there was really that social contract, that
Mm.
everyone in a state came together and agreed to give up their rights and give it to one representative. It is a theoretical construct that we just that we just assume or presume in order to continue with the development of an ideal or ideology.
Mm.
So really, the social contract cannot be proven empirically. There is no history that will say that there was a social contract in this area, in this place, in Europe, and wala.
Like the blood
It's not
compact
empirical.
of si Katuna. Di ba?
Mm,
Like the blood
mm,
compact of si Katuna, you
right.
can identify the place and time. There was a contract there, contract of friendship. Di ba?
What is up, Oseng?
Ayan.
Nasi Oseng yung kasama
Saan
natin.
na ba tayo? Right.
Hello?
So, paano
Tuloy,
naman
tuloy.
daw si Hobbes, no? Si Hobbes. So si Austin daw believed in the jurisprudence theory. And jurisprudence is the succession of laws, no? Pero ang issue nila dito kay Austin is paano naman yung okay. According to Austin's conception, to be found as for instance in the case of Ranjit Singh, the Sikh despot of Punjab, such sovereign ruler never made a single law
Single law.
in Austin's sense. Okay? So para kasi kay Austin, the sovereignty relies on that body which makes laws.
Yes.
Okay? Okay? Now, as Clark says, the sovereign, okay, sabi nito ha, the sovereign daw, as the makes or sets such rules in the first instance is contrary like to philosophy, history, and legal tradition. Okay? So hindi siya nagko-coincide. Just like what you're saying about Hobbes, hindi rin siya na nakikita natin in real sense. Okay. The legislator, is he the sovereign? Yun yung tanong.
Legislator.
Okay?
Yan yung
Diba?
question ni
No.
Austin.
Yan yung tanong nila dito sa mga theories na meron about sovereignty. Kasi like in Hobbes, what is the work of the okay, Hobbes supplied the principle according to which the Austinian conception must be interpreted. The legislator is he, not by whose authority the law was first made, but by whose authority it continues to be law. Ang gulo na ngayon, no? So what now? Is it the sovereign that makes the law or the sovereign that makes the law? Ano? Kasi nawawala na yan sa social contract theory. Di ba?
Well, ang sinasabi niya dito kasi si Jean-Jacques, si Rousseau yan yung sinasabi nito dito sa doon at same that is Rousseau. There were three social contract theorists. Para yan silang three synoptic gospels, sabay-sabay nilang nag-isip niyan. Nauna ng konti ito si Hobbes, sumunod naman ito si Rousseau at saka si John Locke.
Ito may maganda silang dito, attorney. Din naman tong kanilang argument dito Thus, ano ba to? Ba't hindi ito mawawala? Okay. Thus, where the rule of English common law has not been interfered with by the parliamentary statute, we may regard it as set by Parliament because Parliament could interfere with it. Should such interference be considered expedient? Okay, why is this important? Now, if we will understand what happened during martial law, may mga presidential decrees. That was not made by any legislation or legislative body.
Not
but
by Parliament.
It is considered a set, no, by the legislature because the legislature, the Parliament, could interfere with it. Pwede niyang i-amend
Or tawag dito, i-delete.
Oo. So what is permitted or suffered to continue, we may by a little twisting of language by one of those fictions so dear to the conservative legal mind considered to be commanded. Of course, when we extend this principle of interpretation from highly developed political societies where the sovereign is constantly legislating to more primitive societies where there is no legislative activity, the extreme artificiality of the procedure is forced on our notice. It becomes absurd to say that the king of Persia at one time commanded the Jews to keep the Sabbath because he did not forbid them to do so. Di ba? So mga ano to, mga kapilosopuhan talaga to, no? The application of the historical method and the genuine scientific study of the origins and sources of law do not refute a professedly unhistorical theory, but they tend to weaken our sense of its importance. Kaya natin to dapat tingnan, no? Na, okay, there's a theory, there's the philosophy, there's a law. Pero where does sovereignty really come from? Or what is it? How do we understand it now that we have a president, we have ano, sino ba talaga may ano dyan? May karapatan dyan o may kapangyarihan dyan?
Meron akong na ano, may ginawa akong paper noon sa law school.
Oh.
And it focused on why the people that occupy the territory are justified to be holding the sovereignty or that they are the sovereign. Bakit? Kasi yung mga tao who are connected to the land because it is the land that they till, the land that they grow their livelihood, and the one that they guard against enemies. Sila yung may connection sa lupa na yan na tinitirhan nila. At kung sino yung mga yan, sila dapat ang may power if ever there's going to be a development that would evolve into a government or into a social contract later on. It is those people that have that property, that own that property. So in a way, sovereignty is connected to territory, okay, and right of the people to the land that they occupy, that they till. It's a different kind of view, but it makes sense kasi the reason why it is very hard for us to understand na ang conqueror will have a sovereignty over us because itong conqueror na to na foreign na maputi o na iba yung salita, yung ibang kulay ng mata, ganyan, hindi tayo naiintindihan, is most likely has no connection to this land that we own, that we occupy. And therefore, these people should be inferior to us. They are not superior. Diba?
Bakit?
Kasi anong tawag dyan? They are foreign, they are alien, they are newcomers, they are not from here, they are not from around here. And the earliest, I think that the earliest, this is what I believe, the earliest conception of human beings in terms of their power over a community is their connection to the land. Okay? Kung sino, halimbawa, later on when it evolved into a leader in a group or community like the dato, yan yung dato kasi ang oldest person, okay, who is in that community that own this land. Okay, so parang siya yung pinakamaganda dito ng experience na may ulirat na naintindihan niya na amin itong lupang ito. So siya yung
sa lupa. But so kung lilipat sila ng lugar,
they will have to claim it anew. So ano kasi nomadic, for example, nomadic peoples, they will also establish a settlement there and slowly, by protecting it from other intruders, make that claim over the territory. So madadagdagan yung kanilang territory.
Yun. So let's fast forward on their controversy na philosophical, legal, and historical. Ang partial na dito na conclusion or hypothesis is this: it is essential, therefore, to distinguish between the legal sovereign and the ultimate political sovereign. Or rather, to make the distinction complete at once, Let us distinguish between the nominal sovereign, the legal, and political. This distinction would serve to obviate a great many ambiguities. It is no new distinction, but it is to be found formulated in Locke's somewhat cumbrous phraseology in his second treatise on civil government. Sabi ni John Locke, ha? Ito kay John Locke to, hindi to kay Hobbes. Though in a constituted commonwealth, standing upon its own basis and acting according to its own nature, that is, acting for the preservation of the community, there can be but one supreme power, which is the legislative, okay, to which all the rest are and must be subordinate. Yet the legislative being only fiduciary power to act for certain ends, there remains still in the people a supreme power to remove or alter the legislative. So nasa tao yung sovereignty naman when they find the legislative act contrary to the trust reposed in them. In some commonwealths where the legislative is not always in being and the executive is vested in a single person who has also a share in the legislative, there that single person, in a very tolerable sense, may also be called supreme. Not that he has in himself all the supreme power which is that of lawmaking, but because he has in him the supreme execution, from whom all inferior magistrates derive all their several subordinate powers, or at least the greatest part of them. Having also no legislative superior to him, there being no law to be made without his consent, which cannot be expected should ever be subject to him, to the other part of the legislative, he is properly enough, in a sense, supreme. So we see here three institutions: the people, the legislature, and the executive. And also, itong mga magistrates na to, sinasabi, this is the judiciary. They all share. No, the judiciary doesn't share
It doesn't exist in here. Wala pa.
it doesn't share the they exist, but they do not share the supremacy or
No,
the
mas mababa sila, mas inferior sila.
because they only apply or interpret the laws.
It's the law that is made by someone else or by some other group.
Yes, but doesn't this exactly show us our setup right now in our constitution? Di ba?
Well, yeah, wait.
A legislative,
Yan yung source natin eh.
a legislature which can be
Remove.
okay, they are only fiduciary to act for certain ends. There remains still in the people the supreme power to remove or alter the legislative. Naalala mo yung ating recall and our right to petition and
Actually,
right
itong
to ano yung direct legislation by the people, ano yun?
referendum, initiative and referendum.
Initiative, yun.
Pero dito, ang sinasabi dito is not initiative and referendum. This is the power to revolt. This
Yep.
is the inherent power of the people, the sovereign, to revolt when there are unjust laws made by the sovereign or the nominal sovereign, which is the king or the legislature in this case, in a republic. This is the inherent power to revolt. Yan yun.
Revolution. So, pwede. But the king or the executive here, no, is also recognized because he can make laws and there is no one above him.
Yan yun sa constitutional monarchy. Kung may
Or,
no ability.
pero hindi naman king yung sinasabi niya dito, di ba? It's just the executive, no? The executive.
Not necessarily.
So,
It
pwede
could be
talaga
the dictator, the president, or the dictator.
Ayun. So with this, when we say that our legislature dito sa Pilipinas is the one expressing the sovereignty of the people, we must understand it according to this theoretical or legal framework. No?
Yes.
That it is a shared sovereignty.
Shared nga. Okay, di ba? Let's see how it is shared. Okay.
Veto.
The sovereignty has the power to make laws, so that is in the legislature. The sovereign has the power to hold police power, which is to yun nga, make laws and to punish a violation of laws. Okay, the sovereign has the power to tax.
Mm.
Okay, and the sovereign has the power to control its own territory. The sovereign has the power to enter into agreements with other
Oh,
states.
yep.
Diba? And the sovereign also has the power to adjudicate um, and interpret laws.
Mm.
So, kanino yan dinivide? Diba? The power to make agreements and to execute the laws um,
President.
goes to the president or to the executive. Diba? The power of the purse, which is to tax, and to the police power, which is to make laws and punish punish violations, that goes to the legislature. Diba? And the power to to judge controversies belongs
It,
now to the judiciary.
ito yung the magistrates. No? The magistrates. But to some extent, our Supreme Court also makes laws. Diba? When they interpret laws, their interpretation becomes part of the laws in the common law
Law
sense.
of the land.
Yeah, so in that case, they
Jurisprudence.
also share in the ano. So, uh, with this, malinaw na siguro may katanungan ba sila about sovereignty? Okay, in the monarchy, it is the monarch who is considered as the sovereign, not the people's subjects.
Depende. There is
Okay,
a monarchy in the UK now, but they are considered also as a republican democratic state, which means that ultimately the sovereignty resides in the people, including the monarch. Mike, Mike,
in this paper which I actually just skipped, no, there is a discussion here as to who owns the sovereignty in England. Is it the Parliament? Is it the voters or the House of Commons, the House of Lords? Actually, ang sabi niyan, it is shared by the three branches of Parliament. What is the third branch? The King.
ano nga ang tawag sa kanya doon? Ano nga ang
The
tawag
King.
sa the monarch? Hindi, meron siyang tawag doon eh. Yung
Nandito yan.
she decides kung
Okay, so
ano yung ginawa.
ang sinasabi dito, no, the tripartite yan na na nature ng kasi ang sinasabi na when you make laws daw in England, for example, it is in the name of and under the authority of the king or the queen, whatever. It is always stated like that. So in that one,
Royal,
it's not
ano
just
ba? Yung royal something ang tawag doon.
by royal.
Something.
Ay, ito. Ayan, no? Ito. Out of the preamble of any act of parliament, preserving as it does the old theory of the constitution, makes the king or queen distinct from the three estates of parliament embedded by and with the advice and consent of, okay, the king, as whom he enacts or she enacts as follows. Diba? So, for the sake of the convenience of speaking, the sovereignty of the parliament to follow the Blackstone and define the parliament that it includes the king. Sabi ni Blackstone yan. Yan si Blackstone, yan yung gumagawa ng legal dictionary. Yun.
Sa America naman, si Black, legal dictionary. Si Black.
Yan. Ayun. So, tayo dito sa Pilipinas, sino ngayon yung ating legislature? Is it Congress or the Senate? Anong pinagkaiba ng dalawa, attorney?
Ang Congress at saka Senate, it's patterned after the UK setup, pero not exactly. Kasi sa UK, there is called the House of Lords. Those are the nobility. Because they have the historical right of ownership sa kalupaan dyan dahil sila nga yung mga feudal lords. At saka dahil kay Oliver Cromwell, nagkaroon naman ng representation ng commons, yung mga taong ordinary lamang. At
Yep.
sila ngayon, kay sa revolusyon ni Oliver Cromwell, ay nagkaroon na ngayon din ng boses sa kanilang parliament. Sa atin din, ginawa din yan. Pero not because of the divide between the nobility and the common man and woman and LGBTQ. um,
Talagang
National.
politically correct.
Mm. Um, so, ginaya lang natin yan so that the Senate are the lawmakers that would make laws with that have national in coverage. Tapos yung Kongreso naman, the lower house, would be the representative of the people according to their place. So, parang dinivide natin yan into districts. Di ba? So, dinidivide natin yan into districts per province. So,
Yep.
sila ngayon yung representative doon, and they have the power to originate. Okay? So, sa Congress dapat manggaling ang tax laws, ang franchise laws, and the budget law, the General Appropriations Act law.
Pero what?
Yan.
Okay, what power of the Senate is not shared with Congress?
The right to ratify the treaties and international agreements entered into by the President. The right to impeach. Hindi pala kasi tama, hindi. Separate sila. They have shared responsibilities in the impeachment.
The right to convict. No?
No, the right, sila kasi yung judges sa impeachment process.
Ayun.
Ano pa ba? Yung treaties, basically sa kanila yun.
Treaties. Actually, yun yung pinaka main difference ng dalawang bodies na yan. That's why they are not necessarily doing the same thing ng kumbaga parang
All the time.
duplication of alam mo yun? 'Di ba mali yung duplication of functions in government? Hindi sila ganyan. Hindi lang yan sila simpleng check and balance.
Iba yan.
The Senate has that power to shared with the President. 'Di ba? Kasi yung the authority to enter into contracts with international bodies or other countries is vested
Solely
in the
power
President.
of the President.
But certain agreements have to be kumbaga with the consent of the Senate. Kaya kailangan i-ratify.
Ang purpose ng ratification ng Senate is to bring the effectivity of the treaties or the international conventions or agreements into effectivity in the local territory, so that kasi yung mga treaties, they won't have any effect here unless they are included in our local laws. So yung pag-ratify ng ating Senado yan sa mga provisions of a international treaty ay magiging local laws sila sa pamamagitan ng pag-ratify.
So magiging part siya ng ating mga batas.
Municipal laws.
Ayun.
Yan
So
yung tinatawag dyan na implementing rules and regulations ng mga treaties. Sila ang gumagawa niya.
Okay. So yun. So with that, kilalanin natin yung mga mukha. Kilala ba natin yung sino yung mga... So in essence, yung ating sovereignty na legislature na sinasabi dito, tama? They refer to our Congress or House of Representatives. Tama?
Alin, yung ito, sinasabi dito?
Yung sinasabi natin dito sa theory na ating legal sovereign, no? Legal sovereign natin. Ito yung ating House of Representatives, hindi Senate.
Actually, kasama ang Senate dyan sa legislature kasi ang ano.
Dito sa concept na to, kasama ang Senate dyan in the sense of making laws.
Alright. Kasama sila dyan.
Okay. So patutugin
later on kasi, there is also another upheaval, another development, or I think it was, nauna ito sila, itong nangyayari dito sa binabasa natin. But there came also the the principle of checks and balances later on, as we saw the division of the power of the sovereign in many bodies, di ba? Now at least there are three. Nagkakaroon na ngayon ng importansya na i-check natin yung ginagawa ng legislature because sometimes they can make unjust laws. Di ba? Laws that would tax some people for useless things like crusades and all that stuff. So, nagkaroon ng bagong ideya na naman na, teka, i-controlin natin yan. How to control that? Again, there is a process of evolution on those that principle. And ngayon ay meron ng judicial review. Ang ginagawa ng Kongreso ay pwedeng i-review ng judiciary. Tapos, ang executive naman ay ang Kongreso o ang legislature hindi pwedeng gumawa ng budget without being proposed first by the executive. So, hindi sila pwedeng allocate ng pera dyan na walang dahilan. Kailangan may babanggaan yung pera na yan sa budget na ginawa naman ng executive. So, maraming ganito. Maraming developments. Separation of powers later on, checks and balances, mga ganyan-ganyan. But this is the basic, essential sense of sovereignty. In this
and look at this lower part here, no? Third to the last line. There being no law to be made without his consent. Ito yung power to veto and power ng presidente na mag-sign. Okay?
Yes.
All right? So therefore, it has not only a symbolic function, not only a duty that is written in the Constitution, it has a theoretical and philosophical reason.
May historical basis din.
Yeah, may historical, philosophical, political, lahat ng kal na reason. Kaya hindi mo siya pwedeng tawagin na veto spree. Kung ang presidente ay nagvi-veto at ginagawa niya yung kanyang trabaho, not signing into law something that he feels is not going to be good for the country.
It is his sole power din. It is sole power din.
So the media calling out the president for not signing into law 5 legislations is actually out of its mind.
They don't understand. They don't understand separation of powers, sovereignty, and all that. Ignorant sila.
Tawagin mong veto spree. Di ba? Ayun. So, sabi niya, loaded daw tayo sa mga demokrasya.
Loading kami ng demokrasya. Pagka merong na ano ba tawag doon, na bara, na yellow o ilawan, namamatay tayo lagi.
Actually, okay. Actually, ito sinasabi niya, ceremonial. This is what we're saying. It is not ceremonial. Yung duty ng king or duty ng queen to sign or not to sign, di ba? A law, is actually duty. Hindi lang siya ceremonial. And unlike the Japanese, okay, the Japanese has an agreement with the Diet na the emperor cannot refuse to sign any law.
Meron silang kanya?
Yes. That's a different setup.
Okay,
So, yun talaga, purely ceremonial yun. But I think the Queen of England can actually dissolve the parliament.
The parliament, yes.
Yeah. And the parliament cannot act without her authority.
That's right.
Yun. That's why even your prime minister has to continuously report and actually talk.
Relationship with the monarch.
Yeah. Kaya hindi to some countries it's not just ceremonial. And I think in England it is not. Yun. And but there are countries na talagang ceremonial lang like Japan. Pero hindi ko alam kung anong purpose niya na with that.
I cannot say with certainty na merong purely ceremonial
na monarchy.
Kasi
No?
yung function of entering into treaties by the plenipotentiary and all that stuff is not ceremonial.
Yeah.
Because if he decides that the provisions of this treaty is not favorable to the people or to his country, he will just decide not to enter it, and no one can make him sign it. No one in this country can make the president sign a contract or a treaty that he does not like. Wala kang magagawa dyan.
Oo. So this discourse that we are reading right now and analyzing, actually tama si Attorney Ahmed dyan, no? Sovereignty does not only include the power to make laws. Kasama dyan yung lahat ng powers ng gobyerno, which is actually to enter into agreements with other countries. And even if wala na silang power to make laws sa ibang country, yung ibang kings, they have other functions that are still within the ambit of sovereign exercise of power. Ayun. So yan ay hindi natin yan pinamimigay sa kahit kanino. And this is where independence lies. So kung hindi natin to babantayan at papayagan natin yung external forces to dictate upon us what are our kumbaga, what should be our laws on certain things, and then kung ang ating pag-implement ng ating laws ay mali, ay batas nga natin yan eh. Paano ba naman yan magiging mali? Oh, sabi dito, the Queen of England can order someone to be executed if she liked it. Not at all. Hindi natin alam yan. Hindi natin alam. Hindi ko alam if it does exist, no? Can a monarch order someone's execution right now? Like the Queen of England? I don't think so. Or I don't know.
Ay, hindi, well, ngayon, the Queen
Legally?
of England cannot do that. Okay, cannot do that. Kasi meron ng judiciary, and the judiciary, which shares the power of the sovereign, also has a command. It is a mandate. It is a command from the sovereign that will be respected even by the Queen.
Okay. Siguro ito is a matter of semantics, no? Yung ceremonial thing. Kasi there are some things kasi in government, which is an old institution, where ceremonies actually are necessity to make things valid or legal. Let's say, for example, in the Catholic Church, your confirmation will not be valid if there is no oil. That is ceremonial.
Yes.
Okay? Like in the Congress of the Republic of the Philippines, the session will not be allowed to open when the mace is not present. The mace, the symbol of the yung parang nila. Yung parang kahoy. Med, take over mo muna ako kasi nawawala na naman ako yung power. Baka mamatay akong bigla. Ayun. Pero before that, pwede mo siguro i-play yung yung nandiyan dyan na nakalagay.
Okay, sige,
na video.
Sige. Okay,
So yeah,
great.
let's see the faces of our congressmen. Yun yung actually yung isang gusto natin gawin. Name mo lang, sir.
Sige.
Ayusin ko lang tong wiring ko.
Move that we call the roll of members.
Is there any objection? Secretary General, nice call to call the roll of members.
Roll call of members. Honorable Representatives. Abalos. Abante. Abunda. Acharon.
Wait lang. Sasabihin ko lang, yun si Abante, Benny Abante, sa bishop, okay? Yung mga mahilig dyan sa separation of the church and state at galit na galit yung mga pare na nakikialam sa politika, yun si Abante ay sa bishop.
Asidre. Akop.
Ako.
Adyong. Advincula.
Yan, no.
Agaraw. Alba. Albano.
Okay, so you see a lot of familiar names.
Almario.
Teka lang, magtatanong lang ako kay Atty. Ahmed. Kilala mo yan? Atty. Med? Nag-mute.
Kilala ko yan, kilala ko yan.
Yeah.
Anak niya ni Mayo Almario, yung boss ko dati.
How is he older than you or ano?
No, he is younger than I am.
Younger than you. Pogi, no?
Gwaping siyan, Chino.
Almonte.
Yan. Yan yung congressman namin na ano, yun yung sinasabi ko dati na natalo. Weird yung pagkatalo niya nung tumakbo siya kasi yung boto ng congressman mas mataas pa kaysa boto ng gobernador.
Alonte. Alvarez Jose. Alvarez Mercedes. Alvarez Pantaleon. Amante. Amatong.
Oo.
Angara. Aquino.
Sino Aquino to? May mga Aquino pala sa ano?
Meron.
Mindanao?
Sa Agusan. Meron.
Okay.
Pero hindi yata nila kamag-anak ng Nanoy yan.
Ibang Aquino.
Arbison.
Sulu.
Arenas. Arrogancia.
Arenas. Ring sa bell?
Quezon?
Ano to? Baby Arenas?
Arrogancia.
Hindi.
Balik po.
Kaya nga.
Arenas.
Ulit ha.
Vincula. Agaraw.
Ito si Arenas.
Alba.
Kilala niyo ba si Baby
Albano.
Arenas?
Kilala natin yan.
Almario.
Nilibing na si Pangulong Fidel. Alam mo
Almonte.
si Baby Arenas at saka si at ang mga Lopez ay
Alonte.
itong mga
Alvarez Jose.
Alvarez,
Alvarez Mercedes.
Palawan. Tatay siguro to niya, no? Alvarez ng
Alvarez
ng ABS-CBN.
Pantaleon.
Yan, si Davao yan, no?
Amante. Amatong.
Oo.
Angara. Aquino.
Okay, ito na ba yung kasunod?
Arbison.
Hindi pa. Sulu.
Arenas.
Okay. Pangasinan.
Pangasinan, kay Baby Arenas.
Si Baby talaga is from Pangasinan din, di ba?
Anak
And then
siguro ni Baby yan.
Okay. Ang sabi, itong si Baby Arenas is also related dun sa isang kapatid ng mga Lopez na hindi kiniklaim, parang ganun. Parang inadapt ng kanilang nanay. Lopez na si Vice President Lopez to So, anak to, kumbaga na pangasawa ng basta related din sila ng yung babae na inadapt na kapatid. Of course, Ramos, no?
Arrogancia. Asistio.
Asistio.
Atayde. Komentado.
What? Teka lang. Naging congressman pala si Atayde?
Sino pala yan?
Sino to?
Malba.
Pulis, sino to?
Si Eddie Bong na dito.
Teka, balik ko lang ha.
Angara.
Ayan Atayde.
Aquino.
Atayde is
Arbison.
actor to, di ba? Actor.
Hindi ko kilala yan.
Arenas.
Open secret. Actually,
Arrogancia.
it's a big scandal. Yun na lang masasabi natin.
Asistio. Atayde.
Yan, ito, totoo. Yan si Pogi, pare ko.
Sino ba yan?
Ano to eh, actor to ng ABS-CBN eh. Di ba?
Hindi ko kilala yan.
Yun, yes, Nana Rose, soon to be husband ni Maine Mendoza. Oh, ito yung ano ah. Ito yung Cheese Max. Okay, soon to be husband ni Maine. Talaga? Galing oh. Yun,
Komentado.
komentado. Bohol, okay. Ito si komentado sa Bohol, ano yan, second generation na rin to, third generation na no. Komentado, no? Yeah. Mga political families to.
Balindong.
Dahil na, hindi ko
Nasa bagay.
Marba.
Si Eddie Bong na dito.
Ilocos.
Barbers.
Oh, ito.
Ko Angelica Natasha. Ko Elizalde.
Oh, nag-jump ba tayo?
Ko Pilar. Ko Juanco Jaime.
Oh, Tarlac.
Tarlac yan.
Nagbabata din naman yung mga kapamilya nila, no? Hindi lang pala yung ibang mga political families. Bumabata sila lahat, no?
Ko Juanco Mark.
Oh, dami.
Colada. Coliantes. Corvera.
Busan.
Cruz Ambrosio.
Bulacan.
Cruz Ricardo. Kua.
Tagig.
Oo, Pater.
Bakit? Wala na yung asawa niya, no? Alan Peter? Di, si Alan Peter yung dati dyan, ano?
Lupa yun. Oo.
Hindi. Si Alan Peter yung dati dyan. Tama.
Oo.
Quaresma. Dagoo.
APEC. Ano to? Party list.
Party list.
Okay.
Dalipe.
Zambon.
Balog.
Mountain Province.
Dayang Hirang. Daza.
Northern
De
South.
Jesus.
Itong dasa na to, Sir Ahmed, ito ba yung mga ano, sila dasa na,
Northern Samar.
yung mga political family na dasa, yung kamukha niya yung tatay niya, no?
Oo.
Raul Daza, no? Tatay niya siguro yun. Phil
De Venecia.
Ito,
Pangasinan. Oo, ay taga-Pangasinan.
anak to ni ano, Joe the
Apo.
Rainbow.
Anak kasi ko na to.
Pero kay Joe the Rainbow,
Defensor.
Ayan,
Belmar.
Iloilo,
De Los Santos.
ang probinsyano. Wow, nakapagpaupo pala talaga yung ABS-CBN na teleserye ng isang congressman, no? Ang probinsyano. Carpo.
Ang galing.
Galing.
Dimaporo Muhammad Khalid.
Lanao.
Dimaporo City Amina.
Yan.
Ayos na.
Buong Lanao, puro Dimaporo. Mga apo siguro to ni Ali Dimaporo na napakagaling din naman no, na leader talaga.
Founder
Eh,
ng MILF.
Hindi. Hindi.
Bangsamoro Army. Bangsamoro Army.
Si Ali Dimaporo?
Oh, si Ali.
Talaga ka?
Oh,
Ang mga
he's one of the, kasama yan ni Normis Wari. MILF yata siya, no? Si
Talaga?
Moro.
Kasi ano yan yan yung mga barkada ng tatay ko dati. Si Ongkoy Parovino.
Magaling na
Dionisio.
Manila,
Domingo.
Bulacan,
Duavit.
Duabit, Rizal. Dito sa amin pala to, congressman namin yun. Nakikita ko dun sa labas yung ano niya, tarpaulin. Bago yan.
Duhali.
Davao.
Duterte.
Ito. Political family daw to eh. Mga ano daw to, mga
ano ba to sila? Hindi ko kilala.
political dynasty daw to mga to.
Hindi ko kilala yan. Sino yan?
Yan, si Paulo Zimmerman.
Zimmerman.
D. Faustino Ino.
D.
D. Faustino Michael.
Isabela.
Kapatid
ha?
yata.
Isang ano na naman yan ha? Isabela, puro D. Okay, the third, the second.
Puro
D.
Faustino.
Ian Paul.
D, Isabela ulit, tatlo.
Ecleo.
Ayan, ito, Ecleo.
Emano.
Lungkoy Emano, Cagayan de Oro. Okay, kamukha ng tatay.
Enciso.
Sino itong love interest na to?
Enverga. Escudero.
Up. Sino to?
Ang ganda nito ah.
Ito.
Sino yan? Kamag-anak ba ni ano yan? Ni Cheese?
Cheese? First District Sorsogon.
May anak na ba si Cheese? Wala pa, di ba?
Meron, pero
Pero yan ba yan?
maliliit pa yun eh.
Oo, ito.
Sino to?
May kapatid ba si Cheese na lalaki?
Alam ko may mga kapatid si Cheese. Pero
Baka,
baka mga ano to, kapatid.
baka asawa to ng kapatid ni Cheese.
Hindi ko alam. Pero magaling, maganda.
Espares. Espina.
Oh, Dilima.
Estrella.
Abono.
Yudela. Fariñas.
Oh. Parinyas. Pero ito Parinyas na ano? Party list. Hindi kay ano kaya to ni Rudy?
Hindi.
Fernandez. Ferrer Antonio.
Cavite.
Ferrer Juliet Marie.
Negro.
Flores. Fortes. Frasco.
Si Wuwu.
Fresnedi. Fontebella. Galeos.
Cebu.
Garcia Albert. Garcia Dante.
La Union.
Garcia Jose Arturo.
Sal.
Garcia Maria Angela.
Hindi naman sila siguro magkakamag-anak. kasi
Garcia
magkakaiba
Pablo
yung-
Jan.
Ito si Bo na Garcia. Matagal na to si Pablo Garcia, no? Governor yan minsan, ganun. Matagal na yan si Cebu na, no? Institution
Yung mga
yan,
bata-
Garcia Vincent.
Anak yan.
Garcia ng Davao.
Guardiola.
Gardiola. CWS. Ano naman yung CWS? Catholic
Party
Women's...
list yan, party list
Ha?
yan.
Catholic Women's Society? Hindi,
Perin.
CWL pala yun.
Ito,
Galing.
ito. Kilala na ito.
Kilala natin
Ito yung
yan.
Secretary of
Doktor
Health.
yan, ha? Yeah.
Ito yung Secretary of Health na nung nangyari yung infection.
Pero, nung
Pero-
nangyari din yung nangyari din yung itong COVID, ito yung pinakamagandang suggestion na narinig ko tungkol
Tama,
sa DOH. Ang sabi niya, hindi kailangan doktor ang maging Department of Health Secretary.
Tama yan.
Hindi.
Tama yan.
Gasataya. Gatchalian.
Ito, political family din to. Gatchalian,
Oo,
mula Senado hanggang Congress, konsehal.
Dato.
Gato.
Go Ed.
Op.
Go Mark.
Sino? Ed Christopher Go Isabela. Okay.
Isabela.
Mark Go.
Baguio.
Alala mo si Mark Go?
Yan yung
Labor leader?
Labor
Leader? Na mangyak-ngyak na pero kailangan ng depensa ng ABS-CBN at inatake yung mga complainant na illegally dismissed.
Hindi natin malaman kung anong nakain niya.
Hindi ko talaga tumasok. Kasuklam-suklam na tao to.
Kaya tuloy na pa.
Goles. Gomez. Gonzaga.
Yun ang pogi.
Gonzales Aurelio.
Wag na.
Gonzales
Wag na
Leopoldo.
ibalik. Pogi.
Gonzales Sandro. Goricheta. Guico.
Guico, Pangasinan.
Ginto. Gulyas.
Op. Pinuno. Alam mo kung ano yung party list na yan?
Ano yan?
Nakabase din yan sa karakter ni
FPJ.
Lito Lapid.
Dito lang.
Si Pinuno. Doon sa ang probinsyano. Wow, ABS-CBN talaga is the winner of this election.
Ang galing, Ang galing.
Good luck.
Gutierrez. Hagidorn.
Oh.
Si
Ito,
Edward,
magaling
buhay pa rin
mayor.
pala to. Pumayat to,
Magaling.
pumayat, pumayat.
Magaling to. Magaling na mayor to.
Oo, pumayat na, pumayat.
Haresco.
Up. Aklan.
Lahat.
Hataman.
Kasaman.
Kasi
Oh,
Mujib.
Mujib.
Sana, basilan niya, basilan.
Ano to, di ba? Head ng Bangsamoro.
Hmm.
Best friend ni, laging nasa zona ni Noynoy Aquino.
Hernandez. Herrera.
Teka,
Maganda yung Fernandez, ha?
ano yung, okay. Ano yung BH na yan?
Hindi ko alam.
So yung kanyang party list BH, tapos yung pangalan niya si Bernadette BH Herrera.
Party list.
BH
Teka,
para sa BH
hinahanap ko.
party list.
Hinahanap
At
ko.
saka nakafollow ako dyan, ha?
Bagong henerasyon party list.
Oo, ito ba yung dumadapa-dapa sa daan dati? Siya ba yun? Na mayor? Na pinipicturean na nagpapasalamat kay Noynoy kasi ginawa yung kanilang daan? Dating mayor ba to? Is she the one?
I don't know.
Tsaka nagtataka ako bakit ako naka-follow dyan. Lagi ako, araw-araw ko may natatanggap na post niya.
Horibata. Javier. Ko Olga Ara. Ko Ricardo.
Puro mas bati, puro ko.
Ko
Koko.
Wilton.
Ko! Mas bati pa ulit, koko.
Konghun.
Ano yun? Sambales na.
Labad-labad.
Yan, mga
Lacson.
Manila teachers.
Lacson Noel. Lagman.
Oop. And he's back. Ito, magaling to. Sipin mo, nag-file to ng petition sa Supreme Court. Pinagtapat pa, gumawa pa yung Supreme Court ng table. Isin gumawa ng table. Unusual yun para gumawa ng table yung Ito yung ebidensya ni Edsel Lagman. Ito yung ebidensya ng gobyerno. Ang nakalagay dito, balita ni Rappler versus official report ng AFP, PNP.
Magaling to siya. Dati magaling tong labor leader, ngayon magaling siyang
Mag-file ka ba naman ng Supreme Court petition? Ang basehan mo? Rappler?
Lagon Daphne. Lagon Sani.
Daming lagon
Lara.
Lara.
Lazatin. Lee.
Hmm.
Ligarda.
Sinong Lee yun?
Hindi ko alam.
Wilbert Lee? Anyway.
Libanang. Lim Kay Chong.
Negros.
Loyola. Luistro.
Armin? Hindi.
Dumayag.
South Cotabato.
Makapagal Arroyo.
Yan.
Kumakatas si
Ito.
Madam,
Wala nang neck braces.
Wala na ring
Wala na rin.
wheelchair, sir. Wala na wheelchair.
Wala wheelchair.
Maceda.
Ano
Madrona. Magsino.
Ito yung si Eliando Jesus Madrona. Siya yung laging na-assign sa Committee on Ways and Means yata. Sige, larga.
Malinis naman siya sa Ways and Means?
Malapitan.
Malinis naman siguro.
Mangawang. Manikis.
Sambuang.
Manuel.
Up. Ahmed.
Raul! Ngayon. Sige, Raul. Good luck sa'yo.
Maranyon. Marcoleta.
Yan. Di ba tumakbo senador to?
Hindi siya tumuloy.
So hindi siya tumuloy na tumakbong senador. So,
Na-withdraw,
doon na siya sa
na-withdraw.
party list. Okay. Kaya ako nagtataka minsan, nakikita ko yung kanyang mga congressman pa rin. Magaling to, magaling.
Magaling to. Magaling.
Marcos,
Hop! Kontrobersyal.
Anak yung anak.
Hindi naman pala party list.
Hindi.
Okay.
Ano,
Nanalo.
district. Distrito.
District. Ay, sus. Kalabanin ka ba naman? Again. Raul!
Mariano Hernandez, Marino, Marquez,
Marquez.
Martinez, Mastur,
Ito, Valenzuela, pare ko eh. Di ba? Lugar to nila,
Ninakatsal
nila
yan.
Gatchalian, oh.
Hmm.
Tinalo nito ang Gatchalian kasi wala namang posisyon na hindi tinakbuhan ng mga Gatchalian eh. Magaling to.
Ulats siya.
Mu,
By default, mas
Maguindanao.
maganda
Oh,
o pangartista si ate.
Maganda.
Maguindanao.
Matibag,
Maganda rin.
Matugas,
Maganda rin. Pwedeng, pang
Kalumang kayo
Mendo-
ito. Ito si Matugas.
Seso. Ay, puta na, makalupit. Ang daming
Ang dami
Sabihin na, seso pa, may librarian.
Ano yung LIB? Ano yung librarian?
Abogado, LLB.
LLB. Pero itong Matugas na to, di ba may controversial na Matugas last election? Siya ba to? Siya ba yun?
Hindi ko alam.
Hindi.
Wala.
Oza,
Mendoza. TUCP. Trade Union Congress of the Philippines. Ito yung mga lumang kapartido ng Partido Komunista ng Pilipinas. Tama?
Hmm.
Mercado,
Mercado.
Revilla,
Cavite. Asawa ni Bong Lani. Magaling to na mayor. In fairness Nung mayor siya ng Bacoor, she was good. Miguel, South Cotabato.
Momo, Morden,
Ano naman yung API? Party list to, pero what is that? API. Baka party list ko ng mga naapi. Anong party list ang API? Mga naapi ito sila?
Api, siguro talaga yan.
Naapi, tigaro ito sila talaga? Kawawa to.
Nava,
Guimaras.
Misay,
Doktor. Pusong Pinoy. Paano naman na naging marginalized yung Pusong Pinoy, pare ko? Di ba dapat ang party list is supposed to be for marginalized sectors na hindi na-representahan? Yung puso ba natin na marginalized?
Hindi ko na malaman.
Noel.
Pero baka hindi pa lang natin nababasa kasi kung ano.
Itong Waray, mga Waray, di ba ang dami namang congressman na taga Leyte? So paano mo
Bakit may
ma-marginalize
Waray pa?
yung Waray?
Nograles, Juan, Nograles, Margarita,
PBA,
Davao yan.
basketball na ma-marginalize?
Hindi hindi basketball yung PBA.
Ha?
Parang yata yan eh. Parang builders yung
Ano?
Teka.
Paano ba? Ano ba ibig sabihin ng PBA?
Athletes yan.
Ha?
Puwersa ng
athletes.
kayaning atleta.
Atleta.
Pwede.
So,
Mga
atleta to?
Pilipino.
O Muse?
Oo.
Atleta o
Hindi,
Muse?
siya, atleta yan.
Si Margarita Ignacia?
Oo.
Muse siguro.
Nolasco,
Athlete.
Uwaminal,
Ito. Yung tatay pala nito ay naging mayor na or governor. Governor doon sa amin.
Sa Oroqueta.
Hindi, governor na namin sa amin sa Occidental. Yung mga mga kabatak na ni Digong. Digong.
Nino?
Digong. Ay, teka.
Olas,
Wait. Ando. Ito ba yung si Mayora?
Mayura rin lalaki yan.
So, Olivares,
Trans G yan?
Onchuan,
Onchuan. Ganda na apelido ah. Onchuan?
Ordanes,
Oh, senior, yan. Yan, dapat ganyan. Senior citizen din siya. Di ba?
Different siya.
Oh.
It
Okay
makes
yan.
sense.
It makes sense.
Ortega,
Ito. Sunod-sunod to. O hindi. Sa palagay mo, ilang Ortega kaya makikita natin? Sa
Bakit
party,
first district clown yun?
baka nga hanggang pang ilang district, puro Ortega yan. Kaya nga po,
Tingnan
the
natin.
party lists are too much. Research nyo po, party list, baka kaya bol. Ay, hindi yan maabol. Isa sa constitution yan eh.
Hindi
Dapat
yan
meron
maabol.
ding pusong Pinay.
Pinay.
Tama. Ito. Dapat dyan, si Bel.
si Walden.
Api ako.
Paano naman siya naapi? Palkok siya.
Juano Dizon,
Yan, ganda.
Padiernos,
Adjernos. GP. Alam ko may GP na battery. Ano kaya yung GP party list? Third namin. Ito, George Paglinawan. Party list. Kaya nga AGP eh.
BP ay Nueva Ecija yan. Party list ng Nueva Ecija.
Ang GP?
Ah,
Okay.
Paduano,
Abang lingkod. Ang inyong abang
pangalan niya
lingkod.
sa sarili niya.
Bow. Ganun.
Abang lingkod. Ano siguro to? Pastor siguro to. Bakit ka tumatawa?
Paglas,
Sinalize yan.
Palma,
Palma, Zamboanga, Sibugay.
Panaligan,
Oriental Mindoro. Uy! Wala na si ano? Wala na si ano? Yung mayaman?
Sino mo yaman?
Yung taga Mindoro, yung babae, yung taga College of Law na babae na alam mo yun, yung sunod-sunuran sa kung ano yung tanong ni Rufus Rodriguez. Nabigyan natin sila ng script. Magkasunod sila, parang yung tanong. Nagkamali ng basa. With conviction pa yung delivery niya, natanong na ni Rufus lahat.
Sa sobrang yaman niya.
Pancho, Panotes,
Camarines Norte.
Pucha, teka muna, gaano kahaba to?
Pascual,
Na, letter P na, malapit na.
Peña,
Huwag mong tingnan yung haba kasi nakikita natin yan dahil buong session yan, hindi na natin ubusin. Ito si Kid Peña, Makati. Ito yung tumalo kay Binay, di ba? Or
Oo, yan.
Vice Mayor ni Binay na pinalaban siya, tama?
Oo.
Congressman ba?
Pimentel,
Sinong Pimentel?
Ibang Pimentel yun.
Hindi, Surigao din yan. Sila din yan.
Aquilino? Hindi ba Cagayan sila?
Surigao.
Cagayan.
Surigao.
Yan si Aquilino Pimentel, Cagayan yan.
Plaza, Plato,
You know?
Vinicius Agabas, Pumaren,
Pumaren.
France coach.
Puno,
Dating dating councilor. Masipag naman yan. Si Pumaren. No question. Ito, Antipolo na Puno. Kamukha ni
Kamag-anak nila doon, Dinadong.
Dong Puno, no? Yeah.
Mukha nila yan. Kamag-anak nila.
Kimbo,
no? Teacher Stella. Congressman ni
Teacher
Ahmed sa Marikina.
Oo.
Paano siya naging teacher? She's a professor
Dilawan yan.
of
Dilawan yan
economics.
siya.
Super Dilawan.
Napakagaling na ekonomista daw yan siya.
Daw. Pero parang nagdududa na ako nung bandang huli.
Oo.
Ano to?
Maganda.
Maganda. Asawa to ni Miro Kimbo.
Miro.
Si
Oo.
Bad Hair Day.
Hmm.
Asan na pala si Miro ngayon?
Karama,
Wala
Rama ay.
Recto.
Oop,
Oh. Yan si
Congressman
Ralph
ka na lang
Recto,
ngayon, Ralph.
congressman. Di ba economist yan?
Pinalitan niya ba si Vilma?
Oh. Gobernador yata si Vilma, gobernador.
Ito yung ano, si Mr. Bat. Nasira yung ano nito, yung kanyang career
Oh, dahil sa bat.
dahil sa Bat. Dahil siya yung naatasan ni Gloria na maging principal author. This time sasabihin ko may principal author.
Oh, si Maloto.
Rehencia.
Rehensya.
Revilla Brian.
Agimat.
Agimat.
Ano? What the
Paano
ano
naman
yan?
yan?
Si Bong Revilla? Anak ni Bong Revilla yan?
Oh, kasi kung siya sa ABS-CBN, meron silang ano yun, yung pinuno at saka probinsyano. Ito naman sa kanya, Agimat. Kaya nga,
Ano yan?
Revilla.
Anong
GMA.
nire-represent nila dyan?
Yung karakter ni Bong Revilla, kasi hindi siya si Bong kaya nire-represent niya yung karakter ni Bong Revilla doon sa Agimat na teleserye. Ayos talaga tayo mga Pilipino bumoto.
Revilla Ramon Jolo.
Oh, at
Anak
least,
din yan.
At least ano to, district yan. District yan. Yung nanay niya, doon sa kabila.
Oo.
Tama? Magnanay.
Oo, sila.
Oh, magnanay. Tama. No.
Reyes.
Anak kalusugan. Kanino nga ba to dati?
Hindi ko alam.
Mike.
Si ano?
Mike.
Si Mike.
Mike
Mike
Defensor.
Defensor. Oo.
Rillo.
Oh, may silbi yun si Mike ha. Nakakahingi tayo ng ano doon dati, ivermectin, di ba? Nung kalagitnaan ng COVID.
Oo, nakakahingi.
Marillo ng Quezon City. Ito, working naman to. Working.
Oo, konsehal yan na matagal.
Rivera.
Rivera, Tarlac. Ba't parang itong nagulat, sir? Yun ang may tsura niya.
Magugulatin siguro talaga.
Hindi, yung ano niya, yung tie. Parang nagulat.
Oo,
no?
magugulatin yan siya siguro.
Robes.
Oh, maganda. San Jose
San
del
Jose,
Monte.
Del Monte. Saan yung lugar na yan?
Okay. Alam mo ito si Robes? Yung asawa nito, Ahmed, ang kailangan nating makausap. Kasi yung asawa nito ang unang-unang nag-block nung application ng ABS-CBN ng franchise nung panahon ni Noynoy Aquino.
Aha. Kausapin natin to. May alam.
Rodriguez Eulogio.
Biologyo.
Catanduanes. Katabi ng Legazpi, no? Catanduanes.
Parang Bicol yan. Bicol.
Okay.
Rodriguez Rufus.
Ito, Cagayan de Oro. Kung na may mga taga Cagayan de Oro, magaling to.
Magaling to dati sa immigration. Saka sa insurance.
At magaling din to na Therefore, ABS-CBN did not commit any error or did not commit any violation of law.
Pagdating niya doon sa ABS-CBN na advocacy niya, para na siyang punto doon.
Ayun, nag-exchange shot sila ni Madam yung taga Mindoro ngayon. Yung pinakamayaman na congresswoman sa panahon nila. Last year.
Roman.
Oh, magaling din. Ito yung transgender.
Transgender. Si General.
Yeah, tama ba ako? Bataan?
Tama
Hindi
yan.
pala. Am I right?
Geraldine. Mukhang tama. Tama ka.
Tama ba ako? Am I right? Paki-Google nga.
I-Google natin.
Am I right? Hoy, hindi
natin, ha?
Baka nagkamali ako. I have to say sorry kung mali ako.
Ay, hindi. Iba yung Roman. Pero Roman.
Iba yun?
Roman din ang pangalan. Roman ba yan?
Oh, Roman din.
Roldan.
Roldan ba yun? Sige.
I don't know.
Romero.
Sorry,
Romualdez Ferdinand. Romualdez Yeda.
Ito,
Romual-
wait. Una muna ha. I apologize dun ha sa transgender comment, pero I thought it was the family name. Pero ito si Romualdez na si anak to ni pare ko ni speaker or asawa. Tapos nasa
Hindi ko alam.
party list
Hindi ko alam.
din siya ng Tingog. Ano naman yung Tingog?
Kamukha
Tingog
siya
is
ni ano, no,
voice.
kamukha siya ni ano, no, ni
Speaker.
hindi may
Or
babaeng
baka yung-
artista na kamukha.
Baka yung tatay nito yung natin sa US. Yung ating ambassador to the United States na si Romualdez.
I think ito si Geraldine Roman ay transgender, I think.
Tama ba?
Si Roman. Geraldine.
I know nga. But whatever.
Siya yun.
Pero ito. Tingog. How is Tingog a sector that is neglected to be represented by this very wonderful lady?
Very rich woman.
Very rich
Binibining
woman.
Pilipinas yata yan eh.
Dati? Yeda? Romualdez?
Oo.
Wow.
Asawa
Tingog
yan
ba-
ni asawa daw yan ni Martin.
Asawa ni speaker. He's also a
May pero
congressman.
mas batang kamukha niya artista yung yung girlfriend nung isang lalaki. Hiniwalayan siya.
O tama. Tama ba ako? Si Geraldine Roman? Is that her name?
Oo nga, siya nga yung
Okay. So hindi ako kailangan mag-apologize. No, kamukha daw ni Don Sulweta. Oh,
Hindi yan kamukha ni Don Silveta. Iba yun.
ako nakikita ko Don Sulweta eh.
Hindi, ayoko.
In some angles. Ayun, tama pala. LGBTQ. Okay, so I wasn't wrong. Okay? Asawa ni Martin. Wow.
Aldo.
Asip walang boses ang asawa ng Speaker of the House, no? Speaker ka na nga eh. Tapos Tingog pa yung pangalan.
Romulo. Roque.
Roque. Bukidnon.
Roque is there.
Roque is there.
Sakdalan.
Cotabato.
Sagarbaria.
Negros. Siguro ko Negros. Ano to, mga sugar to sila dito, no?
Sakaluran.
Sultan Kudarat. Oops! Ahmed.
Maganda.
Maganda. Princess Rian sa Kaluran.
Salceda.
Grabe
Ay, si
naman yung
ate.
pagka-edit niyan.
Grabe ate, ang bata mo
Anong filter yan, te? Anong filter yan? Joey by day. Joey by day.
Ba't ka
Ang
ganyan?
ganda mo, te. You're so beautiful. I love it.
Sally. Sally nandun.
Andun daw si Sally.
Sino yung?
Salimbangon.
Nag-check sila ng attendance kasi galing to sa first session ng Congress.
Okay, so
First
ito yung
first
mga
first session. Tini-check kung present ba o hindi.
Salo.
Photoshop.
Ito kaklase ko to sa law school, si Ron.
Baba.
Salvan.
Ron Salo.
Si Ron Salo, kaklase ko sa law school yan. Mabait yan na estudyante. At nung naging congressman, party list, nung ABS-CBN, parang suporta pa siya sa simula sa ABS.
Nag-file siya.
Tapos
Nag-file
bago ang isip.
siya ng kasama siya dun sa nag-file ng bill,
Oo.
no?
Na
Okay.
ng franchise.
Na dapat bigyan ng franchise. And
And
then
then
during the
suddenly,
hearing,
you realize-
na-realize niya.
I can no longer support this.
Yun.
Change of heart si Ron Salo.
Change of heart. And hindi lang yun he's questioning. Ito, walang nagbibigay sa kanya ng credit. Yung
Oo.
tanong niya, ang nagpabali, ang bumali nung dean ng yung dean
Oo.
ng Ateneo.
Ateneo. Oo.
At the end of 4 hours of grilling, mga alas 11 na yun ng gabi, binanatan nito si Ronsalo. Nagulat si Ronsalo. Nung inamin nung na yung pinagbentahan ng PDR ng ABS-CBN ay hindi ginamit sa ABS-CBN. Ginamit sa mga kumpanya ng iba. So that is money laundering ba yun? Yung ganun, mga tawag na ganyan? O switik-switik lang? Investments ka?
Mali doon.
Mhm. Palawan,
Magaling. Magaling.
Santos,
Santos, Cotabato. Maganda.
Saulug,
Maganda rin.
Kalinga. Pwede ba tayo magpakalinga dito? Ito, Kalinga o Kalinga?
Kalinga siguro yan. Larga.
Paano naman to naging misrepresented or underrepresented or disrepresented?
Hindi, nominee lang yan siya. Yaman niya.
Pero gay daw siya eh.
Hindi, pangalan
Silverio,
Opo. Maganda si ma'am. Ma'am,
Maganda. Kamukha
Good
ni Charo
evening, ma'am.
Santos.
good evening ma'am. Kukunin po kitang ninang sa susunod ko pong pagpapaninang.
Binyan.
Singson, Richelle,
Op.
Op.
Anak ni Chavit?
Maganda.
Anak ni Chavit to? Ilocano ako. Ilocana dapat dahil. Ako, Ilocana ako. Talagang dalawa. Pag
Maraming
Ilocana,
salamat,
dalawang
Shelby.
kanila. Maraming salamat.
Oo. French
Talagang
to,
dalawa.
Singson, Ronald,
Ronald Singson. Oh. Bakit hindi ito First District Ilocos Sur First? Bakit yung kapatid mo Ilocana, ako Ilocana?
Kasi Ilocana siya.
Singson Mihan,
Oh, Singson ulit. Ilocos
Anak
ulit.
ng tilapia, ang dami nila.
Solon,
Sulon. Saan ang galing?
Soriano,
CIS.
CIS.
Alala mo, sino ba yung dating CIS?
Si ano? Si yung
Yung chick, di ba?
nasa DSWD ngayon. Babae.
Oh. Jeffrey Soriano.
Suwan,
Mayaman yan.
Swansing Horacio,
Swansing.
Sultan Kudarat.
Yan, oh. Pag mga apelyido mo, Swansing, taga Sultan Kudarat. Ting, ting, ting. Ganon yan.
Swansing Micaela Angela, Suarez,
Suarez. Sino yung Suarez? JJ. Quezon.
Talyado,
Camarines Norte. Okay.
Tamayo,
Angat ka kaya pag ganyan.
Hindi
Tingnan mo
natin
daw.
alam. Lagkada, tuloy mo.
Angat Ben. Angat o ano.
Ayoko na makita
Pikit.
ng mukha.
Pikit.
Tamayo, Tambunting,
Oh, ito. Maraming pera to. Tambunting pawn shop yan.
Pero pagkalapit.
Tan Joseph,
Isabela. Natan. Nako, yaman yan.
Tan Keith Micah,
Quezon.
Tan Reynolds Michael, Tan Samir,
Oh, iba-ibang lugar naman. Hindi ito magkakamag-anak.
Tan Stephen James,
Sa dami naman ng tan sa buong
Tan Tambo,
kalibutan. Tan Tambut.
Tan-
Oh, may
Ito,
tan pa ulit.
kamag-anak to nung isang na Tagano. Yung kamag-anak niya yung nasa up to sa Kortan.
Tan
Anak
Tambut.
niya yata. Maganda yung
Kusog.
t-shirt.
Tausog.
Nakita ko rin.
Ang tausog. Taga Hulo. No? Hulo.
Oh, sulo.
Tay,
Punta na to. Agip. Web. Sagip.
Hindi ko kilala yan.
Hindi, ang sagip. Hindi to sila makabayan, no?
Ayoko na
Hindi to
makita.
sila kasama sa makabayan. Hindi, no?
Hindi yata.
Hindi.
Tanhuatco, Tariela, Teodoro,
Teodoro.
Teves Arnolfo, Teves
Si Arnie. Ang anak niya ni
Ghost.
Arnie.
Ito si Ghosting Law.
Oo, yan yung boss. Kamag-anak ba niya yan ni Margarito Teves?
Among ko.
Yaman siya.
Ito yung nagpahal ng
Makita yung
anti-ghosting law.
Jose. Tiangco.
Ito, Toby. Magaling to.
Toby, Jacko. Magaling yan. Magaling na, ano yan, player.
Ito yung mga politiko na gusto kong, kahit na anong partido pa siya, no?
Political player yan. Magaling yan.
I like this guy.
Tieng. Tolentino.
Hop. Maganda.
Ang dami pa ng distrito ng Cavite, hindi kayang ubusin ng mga rebelya.
Ang laki niyan.
Pang 8 na, oh.
Tulfo Jocelyn.
Ano ata yun, Senator Tolentino? Anak niya ba yun? Ito, ACT-CIS. Dalawa sila, nakadalawa. ACT-CIS. Tulfo pala yung ACT-CIS.
Tulfo nga.
Sila yung may-ari
Saka
niyan.
yung isang kasama niya sa programa niya, yung ano.
Tulfo Ralph Wendell.
Dami
Ayos,
tulfo pala ngayon, ah.
Ayos brother
Tupas.
Tupas, Iloilo. Alam ko magaling yan si Tupas.
Tutor. P.
Tupol. LPGMA, LPG Marketers Association. Okay. May nagagawa kayo sa presyon ng LPG. Thank you, Congressman.
Umali.
Marami. Ang mahal.
Unabia.
Unabia.
Ungab.
Ungab. Ay, iba na to na ungab, no? Davao. Anak na to, Med? Anak na to? Hindi to yung ungab na sikat, di ba? O siya yun?
Hindi ko alam.
Valeriano.
Valeriano, Manila.
Valmayor.
Negros Occidental.
Valmayor. Vargas.
Quezon.
Vargas.
Bata pa, oh. Mukha ni Bandol.
Alfonso. Velasco. Veloso.
Si Lord ba yun?
No.
Si Lord yun? Hindi na pala tumakbo si Lord.
Pazon. Vergara. Versosa.
Saan yung iba mga partido?
Villa.
Si Quijon.
Villafuerte Luis Raymond.
Del Rey. Ito. Astig to. Pang senador to. Pang senador to. Magiging senador yan.
Villafuerte Miguel Luis.
Yun lang,
Anak.
Villanueva.
Pastor. Separation of the church and state. Okay.
Diba?
Pero sinasabi namin yung separation of the church and state is really yung pagkakaintindi na bawal yung mga religious people to enter into government or interfere or even say anything about government. That's wrong.
Mali yan.
Kaya ito sila, they're there, si Bishop Abante, it's okay. That's
Tama yan.
our freedom.
Villar.
Up.
Maganda.
Ang pero ano to? Hindi to ano?
Asawa yan,
Party list,
asawa.
Hindi party list.
Yaraza Suarez.
Alona. Anong klaseng party list siya? Alona.
Ano yan? Largal.
Villarica.
Concha?
Violago.
Biolago. Nueva Ecija. Mayaman to.
Yap Christiantel.
Yap, Tarlac.
Yap Christopherson. Yap Edvic.
Another ACT-CIS. Tatlo na.
Yap Eric.
Benguet.
U Divina Grace. U Jazel Victoria.
Bata pa to.
Maganda.
Maganda. Zamboanga del Sur.
Yulo.
Hindi daw asawa si siya daw yung
Zamora
Camellia
Amparo
Homes.
Maria.
Anak yan, kamukha ni Manny eh. No? Tama, di ba? Hindi asawa, anak ni Manny, kamukha ni Manny. Kaya, siya yung Camellia Homes. And then,
Okay.
Taguig. Zamora. Lagi.
Okay.
Zamora Maria Carmen.
Ito sa Davao de Oro.
Zamora Isabel Maria.
San Juan.
Zubiri.
Wap. Pwede. No. Zamora.
Saan yung San Juan City?
San Juan.
Kapataan, Batangas?
Hindi, dito. San Juan.
Ay,
Sa
ito, San Juan.
Green Hills. Mga Zamora yung may-ari niya ngayon, di ba?
Oh, okay.
Subiri. O yun. Kasi ito ibang mga ano. Party list. Wala yung mga kabayan si France. Hindi na ata sila ano, sinama. Wala na, ubos na.
O, ito
Tapos na.
malas nila.
Baka hindi sila talaga sinilista, no?
Kaya nilista sila, nandun naman sila. Wala namang isa lang ang
Tumalon
nanalo sa
ba ako?
kanila eh. Isa lang yung nanalo sa kanila.
Tumalon na ata ako dito sa ano.
Angara.
Ay, di, paran lang natin ha. Lagyan natin ng lower.
Isa lang
volume.
yung nanalo sa kanila. Di mo ba alam yan?
Tatlo sila, si Franz, si Franz yung sa teachers. At saka
Arenas.
si Raul, at saka
Arrogancia.
babae,
Asisto.
yung mga babae. Sino yung mga babae?
Gabriela.
Gabriela. Oo.
O, wag mo lang balikin. Tama na.
Hindi,
Ano?
i-play lang natin to, makita lang natin habang i-recap natin at tapusin natin.
Balindon.
So ito yung mga mukha ng ating mga congressman, congresswoman,
Marba.
sila yung ating representante
Barbers.
sa sovereignty na tinatawag. Sila yung nag-exercise niyan as far as our kumbaga, sovereign right to make laws is concerned. Because it's also a sovereign right to implement the law. Yun yung lumalabas sa ating analysis kanina, Tornino. Ayon kay John Locke. No, it's also a sovereign function to implement the law and to interpret the law. No? And the power to take it back is the power that resides in the people.
Yes.
Yun ang kagandahan yan. So, we share our sovereignty with these people. They are the ones who are up to... Ay, to si Bordado. Hindi natin ito nga nakita. Parang tumalon ako kanina na pindot ko.
Sino yan?
No? Si Bordado, hindi natin ito nakita eh. Letter B. Na natalunan ata natin. Sino sa... Okay, tanong dito. May tanong. Sino sa Davao Oriental or Davao...
Si Almario.
Almario. Si yung bata. Bata ng Almario.
Si Chino.
Okay, sabi dito ni Sherry. Ano sabi?
It would be more interesting to know who are the most unproductive among them. We will know
We
that.
will have to give them the chance to prove
the
themselves.
chance to
Kasi
work.
simula pa lang naman. Ay,
Ito,
naku
si Brosas.
naman.
Ayan, si Brosas, Gabriel.
Yun. Si Brosas Gabriela.
Yan na yun. Tapos na.
Yan na
Una.
yung mga hinahanap natin. Yun. So, si Zamora of Davao de Oro is related to White Kurat Zamora. White Kurat. Dito ba yung yung nagbibisikleta?
Oo, yan.
Okay. So, these people are exercising that sovereignty, and actually, hindi natin to sila binabantayan at hindi natin to sila tinitingnan. Gagawa lang to ng franchise.
Oo, puro franchise lang ang gagawin niya.
At mga
Pangalan na streets.
pangalan ng street, renaming of buildings, and then transfer of regional office from this place to that place. And ito yung isang mga money-making dyan. Yung
Picture.
Filipino citizenship.
Yan yun.
Dinadagdagan tayo. Magkano bang bayan yan? Ikaw, stop ka sa Congress dati.
Hindi ko alam. Hindi pa nasubukan yan.
Yung magpa-Filipino citizenship?
Oo.
Sabi dito, sovereignty is the power to legislate, enforce, and enter into, withdraw international treaties. Yeah, kasama yan lahat. Yun, so, paano po, may tanong dito, Tony, paano po kung magpalit ang form of government to federal government? Yan.
Magiging unicameral ba ang legislative branch? Hindi naman. Hindi kailangan.
Okay. So, malaking disappointment sa ating mga kaibigan na taga Correct Philippines na Okay. Kung titignan ko yung aking mga mentions, ito, profoundly stupid to si Ahmed at saka ako. Kung ano nung mga adjective, lahat nandoon na. Wala pang nang babastos sa
Tama
amin.
naman siya. Tama
Wala
naman
pang
siya.
kahit na si mga dilawan, wala pang nakapagbastos sa amin kagaya ng pambabastos nitong mga nagnanais ng demokrasyang federal.
Hindi naman sila lahat.
Yung mga
Maraming
nagnanais
mga followers doon
na
na
ayusin.
iba, matino naman.
Hmm.
Pero yung leader niya,
yung
si
leader
Orion, ay wala
Yung
yun,
leader
walang
yun.
kwenta yun, walang alam-alam yun.
Pero, ba't niya pinopost dun sa page nila? Okay.
Di ba walang
So,
kwenta eh.
So kung yung mga nagpupush ng constitutional change ay kagaya po ng mga nabayaran noon ng mga oligarko na mag-push. Pagkatapos mong tingnan kung sino sponsor ng mga activity nila, kung way sila ayos. Yun yung mga sponsor niya.
Alam na agad.
Alam na kung sino nasa likod. So yung shift to federal form, sinabi na nga, it's not time.
We are not ready for it.
But why not? Diba? Anong lumabas dun sa ating discussion on
Insurgency.
yung democracy? Diba? When you change a form of government, you will undergo a period of 20 years of uncertainty.
Yep.
And do you want to do that now?
Now with
With COVID and everything and the war
terrorism.
upcoming?
Terrorism and the coming war in Taiwan and all that, good luck.
So hindi talaga siya pwede. Ha? Uy, takbo daw tayo?
Hindi, ano lang to, kasi gusto siguro mag-asawa nito sigurong babaeng to. Manligaw ka kasi, Waraki, manligaw ka.
Si Orion Perez daw ba? Oo, si Orion. Kawawa naman sila. Hindi, naaawa ako sa kanila. Because lagi na lang silang niloloko at umaasa ng kanilang federalismo.
Okay naman yung federalism, pero yung kanyang argument doon sa direct investment na hindi
Oo.
kanya alam ko na meron ng ganun eh. Meron naman direct investment dito, foreign na investment. Yung nilalahat niya ay mali yun dahil hindi mo pwedeng pamigay ang teritoryo mo sa foreigner.
Yun ay mga question ng sovereignty na hindi nila iniintindi. They advocate for changing constitution without understanding the concept of sovereignty. Yun yung problema. Hanap niyo ko liligawan. Wag natin post yan. Watch replay. Kasi storbo talaga work. Ay, ma'am nila, wag kang mag-alala. Available for replay. So ang sinimula namin actually dito before looking at these beautiful faces of Congress is review on what is sovereignty in terms in the sense na nung 1899 kung kailan natin to na-acquire. No? Or kung kailan tayo nagkaroon ng ganun or nire-recognize natin na nagkaroon tayo ng ganun.
Yeah.
Yun.
So,
may katanungan? May mga katanungan? May mga katanungan? Wala na. It's 12:30 and I will miss you all. Kung sino sa inyo, I love you and we'll see you tomorrow. Ano gusto niyo yung topic tomorrow? I-ano nyo kami, PM. Pero kung wala, kami nang bahala.
Oo.
So, ano tayo?
Teka muna, hindi mo inimbita si
Sino?
si brother kanina doon sa ating tambayan, hindi mo inimbita na sumali dito sa amin sa atin para
Oo nga no, Attorney Glenn Chong, no?
Hmm.
Maganda yun. Natuwa siya kanina eh. Ganda ng tambayan natin kanina. Sige. So,
Nag-run out lang bigla eh.
Ayun na nga. Para makilala din siya ng ating mga nighttime viewers na hindi pa, tulog pa or hindi available habang tayo ay nagtatambayan. No? Magaling yun, Attorney Glenn Chong. Edad lang pala natin yun, Bishop. Kala ko matanda. Kaedad nyo pala yun, no?
Kaedad namin yan.
2 years.
Oh, ala. Maraming salamat
Ano?
po sa panonood.
Kaya, dahil sa magagandang napakita natin ng mga mukha at saka mga pangalan na paulit-ulit, soberanyo ng Pilipinas, itong sa'yo.
Alon ng kapalaran, tumigil na sa iyong pang-aabuso sa akin. Ako'y nasindak ng alurin sa baybayin ng kahirapan at kalungkutan. Ang tindi ng sinabi ng aking kapalaran, wala na akong pag-asa, yurap na aking dangal, wala nang lugar pa akong masisilungan. O alon ng kapalaran, sana'y tumigil na. Ang tindi ng sinabi ng aking kapalaran, wala na akong pag-asa, yurap na aking dangal, wala nang lugar pa akong masisilungan. O alon ng kapalaran,